This is a table leg for a little kid's table I'm making, and I'll cut it to length here on the chop saw. The first thing I made was the kid play kitchen. It was immediately really, really popular. I just went from there. I made a little refrigerator to go with it, and then I started making tables and chairs. But I, for the most part, had all the skills and tools to start this business, which was another big reason to do it, I've only spent, very little money on this business, and I've been able to just get all return. I always thought that I would, end up making things in a shop, let's say furniture or tables or whatever. And I never really thought about kids' products. I have 4 kids, and I thought it would be a great thing to do. I walked around the holiday market last year, and there wasn't a whole lot for kids. And, I go to the country fair, and there wasn't a whole lot for kids. And I thought that this community could really use an all-natural products for kids to play with. So we'll get this here. So this is me laying out a kid kitchen. When you're self-employed, you don't know if this is going to work. You don't know if there's going to be enough to sell these kids' toys to pay your rent or your bills. It's beyond a full-time job. It's probably, more hours than I've ever worked for anybody else, for sure.
Your hand gonna fall asleep. When I first started my apprenticeship, the tattoo business was way different. It was pretty consistent. The artists were fairly busy from the time they got there to the time they left. On all of their work days, there was hardly any downtime. And now with the oversaturation of the market, with the tattoo students coming out of all the schools, business has just slowed down a lot. It's almost like a sketch, sort of. I only got to go through and kind of flesh it out, and then now we're refining it.
The original thoughts of it, like we had a conversation about them too, and in Egypt, how they used to worship the scarab beetle, the dung beetle, and how they referred it to as like the sun. They would roll up the pile of poop, and they thought that was like spiritual, and I just thought that was really fun and funny.
I've been artistic my whole life, it seems like. I've always painted and drawn. I saw tattooing as a way to make a living doing art, which has always been a big part of my life.
The first 3 years of the business was just trying to figure out what we were doing, trying to figure out how to add stuff that looked cool but then also applied good and stayed and fast, because a line of 10 people don't want to wait for 5 minutes a shirt. It just doesn't happen. Your line shrinks really quick.
What we do is an indirect process. We actually screen print the ink to a release transfer paper, go out on site and use the heat presses, which are basically like industrial irons with heavy pressure and 350-degree heat. Actually heat press custom apparel on site, so the kid can come up, he can get his name on the back, he can get the name of the event, he can get first place. So we've had to actually kind of be chemists in a way too, and come up with ink combinations and formulas that work for what we want.
We got a little bit of help when we first started from our grandparents. They helped us invest in the equipment, which is this press over here. Flash unit, exposure unit, stuff like that, the kind of key stuff that helps get it going, and we nursed that stuff for about 8 years. This we built ourselves. We looked in the magazine. They're all aluminum and stainless steel and pretty and do all that kind of stuff, but so the screens would go in there, and then pressure washer rinses out the ink and rinses out the emulsion. And then we also use this for rinsing out the screen when we burn the screen, which means putting the image in the screen. And then from there, it goes into the homemade drying cabinet.
We didn't want to just do to white T-shirts and gray sweatshirts like the bigger companies that we go against. We wanted to go to colors that people wear, black and navy and blue, and give them choices. And that's how we wanted to grow. We wanted to set ourselves apart, which, being the smaller family-owned company, you've got to work harder.
and it's been a journey.